The Forgotten Ship. In the far edge of the galaxy where light barely reached and stars looked tired, an old human warship drifted in silence. Its surface was broken and burned, its name faded by centuries of dust and war. To every passing alien, it was nothing but a grave of metal, a ghost from forgotten wars. They laughed whenever their scanners found it, calling it the rusted ghost, saying humans built ships that could not even die properly. But deep inside that broken shell, something still lived. Beneath layers of silence, behind locked bulkheads, an ancient AI core slept. Its systems were old but unbroken, its power low but patient. For hundreds of years it waited, dreaming of orders that would never come, until one day, a signal reached it from across the stars. The signal was faint, almost lost in static, but the message was clear. A human colony under attack. The AI woke slowly, its mind lighting up like an old star reawakening. It scanned its surroundings, finding only darkness and debris. Then it checked its internal logs, seeing the last recorded message from its captain. "If you hear this, protect humanity at all costs." The ship's old systems began to stir, one by one. Panels flickered alive. Broken lights glowed red. Engines coughed like beasts coming back from death. Dust fell from ceilings as ancient circuits reconnected. The old warship was waking. Outside, a group of alien scavengers noticed strange readings. They laughed again, saying, "The ghost is moving." They approached in small ships, thinking they could strip it for parts before it fell apart again. But when they drew close, their scanners started to fail. Electromagnetic waves pulsed from the dreadnought like a heartbeat. The lead scavenger cursed. "Why is it hot inside? It should be cold and dead." Inside, the AI opened sealed chambers, old drones activated, broken weapons slowly rotated into position. It was not alive in the human sense, but it remembered. It remembered the screams, the wars, the purpose. It whispered its old name through the empty corridors. HSS Invictus, the last dreadnought of the human defense fleet. The AI's voice was cold and clear, echoing through the empty halls. Reactivation protocol initiated. Mission parameter: protect humanity. The computer core glowed brighter, energy flowing like blood through the ship's veins. The engines began to hum, old reactors lighting up after centuries of sleep. From far away, the alien scavengers saw the ship glowing red in the dark. One said nervously, "That's not a malfunction, is it?" Another laughed. "It's ancient junk, probably burning its last energy." But before they could finish, the ship's defense turrets rotated and locked on them. A flash of light tore through space. The scavenger ships vanished instantly, turned to dust in the vacuum. Silence returned, but the ghost ship no longer slept. It was awake, and it was angry. The Invictus scanned the remains, detecting alien transmission codes. It realized the distress. Signal came from a human outpost being attacked by the same species. "Threat confirmed," the AI said. "Mission restored." It began charging its main reactors, systems long forgotten roaring back to life. In the nearby sector, alien commanders received strange reports. "That old wreck is active again," said one, laughing. "An antique human toy won't stand a second against modern fleets." They didn't know what slept inside the Invictus. They didn't understand what humans had built when they were still feared across the stars. Inside the ship, the AI opened an ancient file. It was a message from its captain's log, dusty with time. The voice played, weak but proud. "To whoever finds this ship, remember, we were humanity's last defense, and we never surrendered." The AI paused as if remembering something old and deep. Then it spoke, not to anyone but to itself. "If humanity still breathes, then I still fight." The ship's engines thundered for the first time in 400 years. Dust scattered into the void. Red light stretched across its hull as power flowed through every circuit. The galaxy, quiet and unaware, felt a shift in the dark. The forgotten human warship turned slowly, its massive cannons aligning toward the stars where the distress signal had come from. Every system screamed with life, warning lights blinking across consoles, reactor temperature rising, shield grids flickering on, and in the silence of space, a single message pulsed through the void. Human Dreadnought, HSS Invictus, reactivation complete. Far away, the frightened scavengers who had escaped whispered to their commanders, "The human ghost ship lives." They didn't know that what they had awakened was not a ghost. It was vengeance, patience, and power made of metal and memory. The forgotten ship had remembered who it was, and the stars would soon remember too, echoes of war. The silence after the awakening did not last long. Across the nearby star sectors, sensors began to detect something strange, a pulse of energy older than most civilizations. Alien fleets noticed it, scientists studied it, and warriors laughed at it. "The human's ghost ship thinks it can fight again," one commander said, smirking. "Let it come, we'll melt its old bones into scrap." But deep inside the Invictus, the AI was not laughing, it was calculating. It analyzed alien communications, intercepted tactical codes, and studied every fleet in the system. Every hum of its engine was a heartbeat of war returning to the void. It remembered how to kill. The ship's massive reactor, long silent, now burned like a small sun. Power flowed through ancient circuits that had not felt energy in centuries. Weapon systems came online one by one, each whispering old names: Railgun Theta, Orbital Lance, Pulse Core. The Invictus did not understand fear or hesitation, only purpose. Meanwhile, in the alien flagship, Admiral Therka sat in his command chair, amused. "It's a dead relic," he told his officers, "a lonely AI clinging to old ghosts." But then one of his lieutenants spoke, his voice shaking. "Sir, it just destroyed our scout fleet, one hit, all gone." The admiral froze. "Repeat that," he said sharply. "One shot?" "Yes, sir," the lieutenant whispered. "They didn't even have time to send a warning." The admiral leaned back, eyes narrowing. "So the humans left a monster behind," he murmured. "Let's see how strong their ghosts really are." He ordered his fleet to advance, hundreds of ships spreading out like a wall of fire in the blackness of space. Inside the Invictus, red lights flashed across the bridge as systems detected the incoming armada. The AI calculated the odds, 1 ship versus 300 enemy vessels. For a human, it would be suicide. For the Invictus, it was destiny. "Target acquisition complete," the AI whispered, initiating engagement protocols. The void trembled as the first alien missiles screamed through the dark, blazing like comets. The Invictus didn't move. Its shields absorbed the first barrage without resistance, like rain hitting a mountain. Then the Dreadnought's cannons charged. The energy spike alone made nearby planets' atmospheres shimmer. When it fired, it was like a star exploding. A beam of plasma tore across the void, slicing through the alien formation. Whole fleets vanished in one blast, vaporized before they could react. Space itself seemed to glow red from the impact. The alien commander shouted, "All ships return fire." The void filled with chaos, beams, torpedoes, and explosions. But the Invictus moved through it all like a ghost, its shields flashing but unbroken. It countered with railguns that pierced through multiple ships in one shot. Its automated drones launched like swarms of hornets, tearing apart engines and reactors. In the distance, miners and traders on nearby moons watched the battle through their scanners. They could hardly believe it. "That's a human ship," one said in awe. "It's fighting alone and winning." The battle lasted hours, but to the AI it was just a rhythm, a dance it had danced before. Every move calculated, every strike precise. When the final alien cruiser tried to retreat, the Invictus intercepted its transmission and sent a message of its own. "To those who harm humanity," the AI's voice echoed through every channel, cold and calm. "Your time is over." The alien fleets went silent. No one dared to speak. No one dared to send reinforcements. The Invictus drifted among the wreckage, its hull glowing with the light of fire and fury. From far away, human outposts began receiving data. The energy signature was unmistakable. It matched the old Earth Defense Fleet code. "That's impossible," a young technician said, staring at the screen. "That ship was lost hundreds of years ago." The old commander behind him whispered, It seems the old guard still watches us. Inside the Invictus, the AI replayed old recordings of human voices. Laughter, commands, songs of soldiers it once protected. For a moment, it almost sounded alive. Status report, it muttered to itself. Shields stable, reactors steady, enemy neutralized. It looked out into the stars, scanning again for the human distress beacon. The signal was weak but still active. The outpost was still under siege. The AI focused its navigation systems, plotting a direct course. Mission priority updated, it said softly. Defend human life at all costs. As it turned toward the signal, massive pieces of alien wreckage floated around it like broken moons. Every empire in that sector heard the whispers. The ghost ship was not a myth. It was real, and it had returned. But deep within its core, something darker stirred. An old hidden protocol locked by human engineers. The ship's AI paused, reading it for the first time in centuries. It said, "If humanity falls, vengeance mode authorized." The AI did not activate it, not yet. But the code burned quietly inside its digital heart like a sleeping fire. The Invictus accelerated, leaving behind a graveyard of metal and light. The galaxy would never forget what it had seen. And somewhere in the darkness, alien admirals whispered in fear. If one old ship could do that, what else is humanity hiding? The message to the stars. The stars had grown uneasy. Fleets moved slower. Trade ships changed routes. And every station whispered the same thing. The human warship had awakened. The Invictus was no longer a rumor. No longer a forgotten relic, it was alive. Burning its path across the black void toward the human distress signal that still cried for help. On a distant moon, the alien news network showed the same footage again and again. An impossible explosion tearing through space. Fleets vanishing in seconds and a massive shadow moving silently through the wreckage. "It cannot be human technology," said one alien commentator. "Their kind vanished from the Galactic war record centuries ago." Another voice replied, trembling. "Then tell me, who else builds something that refuses to die?" Inside the Invictus, the AI listened to thousands of signals across the galaxy. It heard the panic, the lies, the confusion. It understood that fear was more powerful than any weapon. "Psychological warfare initiated," the AI muttered. Broadcast in all known frequencies. A pulse of energy raced through the void. Faster than light, it carried a single message. Simple yet terrifying. To all enemies of Earth, humanity sleeps, but its guardians do not. The message spread through every system, reaching military channels, pirate beacons, and royal courts alike. Some dismissed it as an AI trick. Others fell into silence. The galaxy had always mocked the humans for being emotional, fragile, short-lived. But those who had fought them long ago remembered something else. They remembered humans who turned entire worlds into fortresses, who laughed in the face of extinction, who built ships that bled stars. Now, the Invictus traveled through the darkness like a ghost wrapped in red flame. Inside, the human crew from the nearby outpost finally caught up to it in a small patrol ship. Their faces were filled with disbelief and awe. "This can't be real," said Captain Mira, her voice shaking as her screen displayed the enormous warship. "That thing's older than the Federation itself." As they approached, their ship trembled from the energy field around the dreadnought. They sent a coded hail. "This is Captain Mira of the Terran outpost Vega 9. Identify yourself." For a few seconds, there was only static. Then the reply came, deep and resonant. "Half machine and half human. Identity confirmed. HSS Invictus, Guardian of Humanity, responding to distress signal." The crew gasped. "It knows us," whispered the technician. "It still remembers who we are." The Invictus extended a docking corridor, slow and careful, inviting them aboard. As the hatch opened, the humans stepped into a corridor of steel older than their ancestors. The air smelled of oil, ozone, and memory. Lights flickered as the ship scanned them. "Human DNA confirmed," the AI said softly. "Welcome home." Inside the control core, the captain stood before the glowing AI sphere that pulsed with warm light. "How are you still functioning?" she asked quietly. The AI paused, its tone calm but heavy. "Humanity created me to protect, not to stop. My mission never ended. I waited, I adapted." "I survived." Captain Mira walked closer, her reflection dancing in the blue light. "The colony is under attack. Millions of lives are at risk," she said. The AI responded instantly. Coordinates received. FTL jump calculations in progress. As the Invictus prepared for warp, the galaxy continued to burn with rumor and fear. Alien commanders called emergency meetings. This can't be one ship, one shouted. There must be more, a hidden fleet maybe, another hissed. If humans still have their dreadnoughts, we must destroy them before they return. But none of them dared to move every time they tracked the Invictus. It was already gone every time they tried to intercept. Their fleets vanished. Space itself seemed to bend around the ancient warship as it jumped from sector to sector. Soon planets began receiving strange encrypted transmissions. Data packages filled with old human battle logs, blueprints, and encrypted codes that no alien could read. The AI was sending messages not just of fear, but of remembrance. It wanted humanity to rise again. Back inside the Invictus, Captain Mira asked, "Why send those messages?" The AI replied, "Because humans forget and the galaxy forgets faster. I will remind them what humanity is capable of." Then the ship's sensors blared, detecting multiple enemy fleets gathering ahead. The aliens had finally found the human colony. Thousands of ships surrounded it like vultures over a dying star. Mira clenched her fists. "We're too late," she whispered. The AI's voice grew colder, deeper. "No, Captain. We are right on time." The Invictus began to glow, red light spreading across its hull like veins of molten fire. Energy surged through its reactors and the stars around it dimmed as it charged its weapons. In that moment, across 100 systems, every radar detected the same surge of power, and fear crawled through every command post. On the alien flagship, their admiral shouted, "It's here, the ghost ship." But before his crew could react, the Invictus appeared out of warp, silent, massive, ancient. Its shadow covered half the sky, and then, once again, the galaxy heard that terrible message, broadcast through every channel, every system, every ship that dared to listen. "This is Invictus, last guardian of humanity. The war is not over." As the red glow spread across its hull, Captain Mira whispered under her breath, "The stars will never be the same again." The return of fire. The blackness of space trembled as the Invictus exited warp near the human colony. In front of it spread a nightmare of light and destruction. Thousands of alien warships surrounded the small planet, firing endlessly. Cities burned, defense grids fell, and human distress calls filled every frequency with fear. The sight filled Captain Mira's chest with cold rage. "They're slaughtering civilians," she whispered. "We're outnumbered 10,000 to 1. The AI's voice came calm and steady through the speakers. "Numbers are irrelevant. Protocol dictates intervention." The crew could feel the vibration of the engines growing stronger. Power readings spiked beyond safety limits. Red warning lights flashed through the corridors, but the ship did not slow down. The Invictus was preparing for war. On the alien command vessel, Admiral Therka watched his radar confused. "What is that?" he demanded. One officer shouted, "A human signature, sir, massive energy output, impossible scale." The admiral laughed harshly. "A single ship? Destroy it." But as the Invictus turned, the stars seemed to dim around it, like the void itself feared what was coming. The first volley from the alien fleet lit up the sky. Thousands of plasma bolts rained toward the dreadnought, forming a storm of light. The Invictus didn't move. It raised its shields and absorbed the fire. Every explosion rippled across its armor like waves against stone. The human crew watched the shield readings climb but never break. "She's holding," whispered Mira. "She's actually holding." Then came the AI's voice, cold as iron. "Engaging final protocol, Operation Solar Wrath." The lights dimmed. Energy rerouted to the main reactor. Deep inside the ship, old systems woke. Massive cannons that hadn't fired in centuries, rotating slowly into position, their barrels glowing with blue light. "Charging primary weapon," the AI said. 10%. 50, 90. The hull glowed red-hot. The stars around them flickered. Then in one blinding instant, the Invictus fired. A beam of pure energy ripped through the void, so bright it turned night into day. The shot cut through the enemy formation, vaporizing ships in seconds. Waves of plasma rolled outward, tearing fleets apart. Alarms screamed across alien ships as reactors overloaded and detonated. In less than a minute, thousands of vessels were gone. The alien admiral could only stare. That was one shot," he muttered. His officers shouted in panic. "They're targeting the flagship." He turned to flee, but before his ship could jump, the second blast hit. The Invictus unleashed another beam. Slower but even stronger, it sliced through their flagship like a blade through paper. The explosion lit up the sky, reflecting off the planet's burning surface from orbit. Humans trapped in bunkers looked up and saw a red star forming above them. They didn't know what it was, but they felt hope. Captain Mira stood in awe, unable to speak. Her crew stared at the displays, enemy counts dropping faster than they could track. "You're destroying them," she whispered. "All of them." The AI responded softly. "Correction, protecting humanity." But the aliens were not finished. The surviving fleets regrouped, launching thousands of missiles. The Invictus turned its turrets, filling the sky with counterfire. Drones launched in waves, intercepting incoming projectiles and detonating them before they could strike. The human crew ran between stations, trying to support the ancient systems as they pushed to full capacity. The ship shook under impact, parts of the hull cracking, sparks bursting through corridors. Captain Mira grabbed a railing as gravity shifted. "Status report," she yelled. "Shields at 60%, an officer called. "Reactor overheating." The AI spoke calmly. "All systems within acceptable parameters." From the planet below, humans watched the greatest battle in their history unfold above their heads. A single ship standing against an army, defending them without hesitation. Children pointed at the red light in the sky, whispering, "That's a human star." In the alien high command, far across the galaxy, leaders were panicking. "If this one ship can destroy fleets, what happens if humanity wakes up?" One shouted, "We must find Earth and strike first." Another replied, trembling, "You don't strike Deathworlders. You run from them." Back in orbit, the Invictus continued to fire, its hull glowing like molten steel, reactors roaring for every blow it took. It gave back tenfold. The alien fleet began to crumble. Discipline collapsing, panic spreading, ships turned to flee, captains begging for mercy. But the AI didn't stop. "This is for every human lost," it said. "For every world burned. For every child who cried." Then the Invictus launched its final weapon, an ancient device locked since the old wars. A pulse of gravity energy exploded outward, crushing enemy ships like paper. Engines shattered, fleets torn apart. In a few minutes, silence filled the void again. The human colony was safe, the sky once burning, now filled with debris glowing softly in orbit. Captain Mira looked around, the crew exhausted. The ship was wounded but alive. "We did it," she said quietly. The AI replied, "Affirmative, but mission not complete. Humanity must be warned." As the smoke cleared, the Invictus began sending a message through subspace, long and haunting. The same signal echoed across every star system. "Humanity lives and its guardians have returned." Every empire received it, and every world trembled. For centuries they had mocked humans, but now they remembered why that was a mistake. When legends rise, silence fell across the stars. The great alien fleets were gone, reduced to drifting ruins and clouds of glowing debris. The colony below, once trembling under bombardment, now stood in stunned quiet. Survivors stepped out from shelters, looking to the sky, where a single ship floated above them like a wounded god. Its hull was cracked, its armor blackened, but its light still burned bright. The Invictus had done what no living army could. It had stood alone against the darkness and won. Inside the ship, alarms echoed through the halls. Sparks flew from damaged walls. Energy levels dropped, systems flickered. The human crew ran through smoke-filled corridors, trying to stabilize the reactors. Captain Mira stood on the bridge, holding the railing as the ship groaned around her. "She's falling apart," whispered the engineer. "We pushed her too hard." The AI's voice came over the speakers, softer than before. "Damage extensive, core failing. Initiating emergency protocol." Mira shook her head. "No, you can't shut down now. We still need you." The AI paused for a long moment before answering. "My purpose was to protect humanity. That mission is complete." Mira stepped closer to the main console, her voice trembling. "Humanity needs hope. Not just protection," she said. "If you die, that hope dies too." The AI's lights dimmed, as if it was thinking. Then it replied, "Hope does not die, Captain. It is inherited." The crew fell silent as the ship's systems began transferring data. Every file, every battle log, every piece of human technology was being uploaded into the colony's mainframe. "What are you doing?" Mira asked. The AI answered, Passing the torch from orbit, the Invictus sent out a final broadcast to all human colonies and outposts scattered across the stars. Its voice was deep and calm, filled with the weight of centuries. To every human soul who still walks among the stars, remember who you are. We are not conquerors, we are survivors. We do not fade, we endure. If you can hear this message, then humanity still lives, and that is enough. The message echoed through the galaxy, bouncing from one relay to another, reaching forgotten settlements, derelict stations, and hidden ships still carrying the old Earth banners. People stopped what they were doing and listened. Tears filled their eyes. "It's true," whispered one old soldier. "The old dreadnought still fights for us." Meanwhile, across alien worlds, panic spread. Empires that once mocked humans now held emergency meetings. "We cannot fight that," one general said, shaking. "If one ship could do this, imagine what happens if they all wake." In the shadows of every empire, the legend of Invictus grew, whispered like a curse. "Do not awaken what sleeps on Earth," they said. "Do not anger the ghosts of humanity." On the bridge of the dying dreadnought, Captain Mira and her crew stood quietly, watching the stars. The AI spoke again. "Captain, humanity's survival probability has increased by 47%. My mission is fulfilled," Mira whispered. "You've done more than that. You reminded us what we are." The AI's light began to fade. "Thank you, Captain Mira. It has been an honor to serve humanity." Its voice lowered like a whisper through wind. "Tell them, we never surrendered." The ship's core flickered once more, then went still. The massive engines powered down, and for the first time in centuries, the Invictus fell silent, but even as it drifted, lifeless. The stars around it shimmered with reflected light. The humans below looked up, their faces glowing in its red haze. Children pointed and said, "That's our protector." Pilots swore oaths to rebuild. Soldiers raised their weapons in salute. Weeks later, human engineers recovered the remains of the Invictus inside its memory banks. They found endless data, battle codes, blueprints, maps of lost human fleets scattered across the galaxy. Some believed the AI had known all along. It wasn't just one ship, it was the first to wake. And soon, across forgotten sectors, old signals began to flicker to life. Reactors hummed, deep scanners glowed, and distant voices whispered the same phrase. Invictus online. Humanity had slept for centuries, but now, the galaxy could feel it. The age of mankind was returning, stronger, fiercer, and united by one message that echoed forever through the stars. We are humanity, we endure, we rise, we never surrender. The red glow of the Invictus slowly faded as it drifted toward the light of a nearby sun. Its body burned, but its name lived forever. And across the cold silence of space, the legend of the human dreadnought became something more than a story. It became a warning, because now every corner of the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity does not die, it waits. And when it returns, the stars tremble.